Tonight on a special 2020.
We got
the most complete look yet at the 40 minutes that changed the world. The night strike that took down the world's most wanted terrorist.
The authority here was to kill bin Laden.
From the Situation Room to bin Laden's hideout in a tourist town filled with soldiers.
Al-Qaeda might have thought that's the last place they think we will be.
And inside the minds of the top secret team that stormed it, training for their one big chance. What X factor does it take to be one of the elite?
You know they love their job. And as a wife, you're so proud of them.
Plus, the children who've grown up in the shadow of bin Laden.
Every time I saw his face, I just ran up to my room, slammed my door shut, and just cried into my pillow.
And how close are Hollywood movies like The Green Zone to the real thing?
The movies have come close.
This is a kill, no capture mission.
Kill Shot, the story behind bin Laden's death. Here now, Chris Cuomo and Elizabeth Vargas.
Good evening. That white-knuckle raid may have ended with the letters EKIA for enemy killed in action, but that was just the beginning of what we're learning tonight as the FBI and CIA pore over the material seized from bin Laden's compound. Among the treasure trove, an al-Qaeda playbook outlining plots against the water supply, planes, and trains. Experts are checking the handwriting to see if bin Laden personally wrote it.
Experts are also looking at al-Qaeda's obsession with anniversaries and symbolic dates, including the biggest one of all, the upcoming 10th anniversary of 9/11. So tonight, we've got all those latest details, everything that went into Operation Neptune Spear. For that, we go to our colleague who knows this story best, Martha Raddatz.
Let me just comment, first of all, on the fact that...
hard as it is to believe now, this is what passed for news last week.
As many of you have been briefed, we provided additional information today about the site of my birth. We do not have time for this kind of silliness. We got better stuff to do.
Better stuff indeed. At this very moment, the biggest and most costly manhunt in U.S. history is building to a crescendo. The target, Osama bin Laden.
This is something that we've been after for 15 years. It goes back before 9/11.
What would become known as Operation Neptune Spear began last July, when after years of painstaking intelligence gathering, a CIA operative spotted bin Laden's trusted courier, a man known as Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, in Peshawar, Pakistan. By August, he's been traced back to this large compound in the tourist town of Abbotabad, where he's living with his brother and their respective families. The compound has few outward-facing windows and high walls topped with electrified barbed wire.
They had implemented some very heavy security measures.
The president is first briefed on the compound that same month. Throughout the fall, aggressive surveillance from the sky and from a nearby CIA safe house determines that another family is living there too, on the second and third floors of the main structure. The family fits the profile of the bin Ladens. Suspiciously, they're burning their own trash. And a tall man, referred to as the Pacer by the spies, is seen walking in the courtyard.
But it was all circumstantial. We never had direct evidence that he, in fact, had ever been there or was located there.
Over the winter, the CIA's confidence in the target grows. In February, Director Leon Panetta meets with Vice Admiral William McCraven, head of Joint Special Operations Command, and tells him to prepare a mission plan. As winter turns to spring, the president chairs no less than 5 super-secret national security meetings on this topic. On March 14th, the option of a remote airstrike with B-2 bombers is offered and rejected. The president wants proof positive of bin Laden's death, not just a hole in the ground. If the operation is a go, it will be handled by the so-called silent option, the Navy SEALs. In April, units from SEAL Team 6 start training for the operation stateside, using a mock-up of the compound to familiarize themselves with its every structure, wall, and entrance. They deploy for a staging base in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, late that month.
The individuals who carried out this assault planned for all the various contingencies.
Last Thursday, 4:30 p.m., the president tells his national security team he'll make a decision soon, but he needs more time to think, and there's plenty to think about. The president has committed the American military to a third conflict, this one in Libya. Now is not the time for a high-profile fiasco, and the memories of prior failures, the botched rescue of the Iranian hostages in 1980, the Black Hawk Down disaster in Somalia in 1993, haunt the Situation Room. And just as troubling, the blown opportunity in 2001 to kill bin Laden in the caves of Tora Bora.
We had the best intelligence case that we ever had on bin Laden since Tora Bora.
Friday morning, 8:20 a.m., while billions of people are consumed by the spectacle of the royal wedding, President Obama meets again with his national security team and tells them it's a go. Immediately after green-lighting the operation, the president flies to Alabama to tour the storm damage, while in Jalalabad, the SEAL team makes their final preparation. Saturday, the president calls Vice Admiral McCraven, himself a former SEAL, and tells him, "It's in your hands, friend." But the operation is delayed. The weather's not right. In Jalalabad, the SEAL team goes through their checklist once again as they wait for the signal. The people of Pakistan and its military are blithely unaware of what's in the works. The biggest story of the day is a victory by the national cricket team.
And West Indies 14-4.
And in the States, the news is equally light.
People think bin Laden is hiding in the Hindu Kush, but did you know that every day from 4 to 5 he hosts a show on C-SPAN?
Saturday night is the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I sit next to Admiral Mike Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's all small talk. You'd never know what was going on, while President Obama does some Oscar-worthy acting himself.
My fellow Americans, mahalo. It is wonderful to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. What a week.
But behind the scenes, in the Situation Room, White House staffers and the military are beginning to gather. Sunday morning, Director Panetta goes to church. The president takes in 9 holes of golf. By 1 p.m., the national security staff is now gathered in the Situation Room, hooked into a live video feed from CIA headquarters.
We had set up an operations post here at the CIA, and I was in direct communication with Admiral McCraven, who was located in Afghanistan.
2:05 p.m., 11:05 in Abbotabad. The operation is Code Green, and the Navy SEALs, the silent option, are slipping over the base of the Himalayas with public enemy number 1 in their crosshairs. Stay with us. Sunday night, as the clock strikes midnight in Abbotabad, the SEAL team, 79 commandos and 1 dog, are en route to the compound in 2 Black Hawk helicopters, their rotors specially modified to fly almost silently. Backing them up are 2 Chinooks. The SEALs are armed with M4 assault rifles, night vision goggles, and handguns. Time is tight. The Pakistani military has been kept in the dark, and the commandos must be out safely before planes are scrambled in response to the incursion.
This operation was designed to minimize the prospects, the chances of engagement with Pakistani forces.
Neighborhood residents would later report a loss of electricity and cell service as the operation commenced. Then suddenly, a near disaster. One of the Blackhawks is caught in a wind vortex as it tries to land in the compound. As the pilot pulls up, the helicopter clips a rotor on the compound wall and makes a hard landing outside.
Seeing that helicopter in a place and in a condition that it wasn't supposed to be, I think that was one of the, at least for me, and I know for the other people in the room, was the concern we had that now we're having to go to the contingency plan.
The second Black Hawk, initially meant to lower SEALs onto the roof of the compound, now lands outside the courtyard to join the others. Instead of roping down, the SEALs now must breach the walls, blowing holes where necessary. 12:30 a.m., as the 25-man ground team goes in, there's uncertainty back in Washington about what's happening.
Once those teams went into the compound, I can tell you that there was a time period of almost 20 or 25 minutes where we really didn't know just exactly what was going on, and there were some very tense moments.
The story of what happens next has been shifting all week.
There was a firefight. It was a highly volatile firefight.
It was a firefight going up that compound.
We now believe that as the SEALs enter the compound, they hit a false door, raising suspicions of a booby trap. Then the courier, Al-Kuwaiti, begins firing from the guest residence. The courier's last message is return to sender. The SEALs kill him on the spot. His wife is caught in the crossfire. The SEALs begin working their way through the main residence, clearing it room by room. McCraven can now hear them say, "Clear, clear." Along the way, they kill Al-Kuwaiti's brother and one of bin Laden's sons. Bin Laden is spotted retreating into a room on the top floor. He's found there with his youngest wife. She moves toward the SEALs and is shot in the leg. Bin Laden makes a move interpreted as resistance, and the SEALs put him down with a shot to the chest and another above the left eye.
Obviously, under their rules of engagement, if he had in fact thrown up his hands, surrendered, and didn't appear to represent any kind of threat, then they were to capture him. But they had full authority to kill him.
Bin Laden's wife confirms it is him. That's when the SEALs report Geronimo EKIA, enemy killed in action. Geronimo, the code for getting the target of the mission. The reaction back in Washington,
we got him.
But they had to make sure. A photo of his face is sent back to Langley for recognition. And for all their high-tech gear, the SEALs forgot to bring a simple measuring tape to confirm the man they kill matches bin Laden's height, 6'4". So one of the SEALs must lie down next to the body to try to guesstimate. Sewn into bin Laden's clothing, SEALs find 500 euros and 2 phone numbers. At 12:50 a.m., 3:50 back in Washington, President Obama is informed that they're nearly positive it's him. But there's still plenty of work to do. The SEALs gather bin Laden's body, along with 10 computers, 100 thumb drives, and 10 cell phones. A treasure trove of intel, including information about al-Qaeda safe houses and a notebook with loose plans for an attack on American railroads, possibly on a holiday or 9/11 anniversary. Finally, they move the surviving women and children into a safe part of the compound and destroy the downed Black Hawk. 1:10 a.m. in Abbotabad. While the Miami Heat are hosting the Boston Celtics in the NBA playoffs, SEAL Team 6 takes off from the compound and makes a fast break for the Afghan border. A local man just tweeted, "Go away, helicopter, before I take out my giant swatter."
At that time, the Pakistanis were reacting to an incident that they knew was taking place in Abbotabad. Therefore, they were scrambling some of their assets.
The helicopters crossed back into Afghan airspace without a single American casualty. At the White House, a moment of pure jubilation.
Good job. It's him. This was him.
7:01 in Washington, 4:01 in Abbotabad. Just after preliminary DNA testing is completed, the president is told there's a high probability bin Laden is dead. At 9:30, he informs Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
The president was very somber in his relating to me what took place.
At 10:45, the networks go live in anticipation of a major statement from the president. At 11:35, the president addresses the nation. The subject this time is not the circumstance of Obama's birth, but of Osama's death.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
The president congratulates the staff.